YouTube output. Okay, both those should be live. Let's check. Yep. And YouTube output. Oh,
Yeah, that was me. Sorry.
yeah. I've got it on both. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome to October's Han-to-Han Combat. We're starting a little bit early just because we are tinkering around because this is just the thing that we're screwing around with. Got lots and lots of things to discuss since we talked last time.
Yeah.
And we're hoping to discuss this with everybody as well. I suppose we should actually use the account to note that we're going live a little bit early just to tinker around, and that we do we want to post the Zoom link and say, hey, we're going live with this in a little while, or should we just we're going live with this in a little while?
Sorry.
Do the headphones.
Okay. Right.
What do you think, Dan?
I think I'm there. Let's do it.
Cool. All right. It's not window, remove it somewhere else. Okay. Got a channel.
Okay, let's pop out this chat here. Don't need to see that. Are you also looking at the YouTube chat?
Yeah, I've got it.
Okay, right. Can I pop that out?
Is everybody watching?
Pop out, pop out, pop out. There it is. It's me.
Oh, on YouTube? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Always watching.
Always be watching. That's what this Sting song's about.
It's weird. I saw an article today saying that someone had noticed news, or probably 404 Media had seen that ICE had put out a posting for maybe up to a team of 30 contractors to monitor social media.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, and I'm like, are they not already? If you think this is a new thing that they're doing, I mean, it can certainly be a thing that they are doing more deliberately, and it could be more accessible to them.
I mean, we can put the link up on screen if you want to toss me.
Yeah, let's see. Who should I be logged in as?
You can see what it looks like now on the stream, by the way.
Oh, okay, right. Can I? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that over there so it can look like I'm looking at this. But that also doesn't work quite as well. Right.
Do I need to put this up higher?
Am I typing obnoxiously loud?
No.
Can you hear it?
No, not particularly.
Okay. Oh, it's a wide story. Here we go. On a Friday. Oh, we could talk about Sora. Sora is also a thing that happened.
Yeah. I saw an interesting Instagram with a dude who's like his whole thing is like watching AI videos, and he was like, I don't understand why Sam Altman is doing this to himself. Like he is the face of all of this, but like now literally you can't trust any video with Sam Altman in it.
It's great.
I'm like, yeah, that's kind of incredible.
This is part of the this is part of another Neal Stephenson novel that we were warned about. It's part of one of the things from Fall, or Dodge in Hell, which I started rereading. It's in Neal Stephenson's novel Fall, which is the one that starts off with, it's the one where people get uploaded into something that feels suspiciously like Ultima Online. And the whole deal with Richard Garriott wanting to be Lord British and cosplaying out with the castle and everything. Only it's a Neal Stephenson novel, and at the latter stage of his career, so it's 2 billion pages long. And if you're me, you skip over significant parts of it. I stuck the story in our chat.
Oh, cool. Of course, it was Wired, who are doing an amazing job. Give me 1 second, and I will pull it up on screen. There we go. ICE wants to build out a 24/7 social media surveillance team.
That's nice for them.
Yeah.
Dozens of contractors to scan X, Facebook, TikTok, and why don't they? This is on top, presumably, of giving a shit ton of money to Palantir and so on.
Yeah, it's a bit puzzling. I mean, this is the other thing about like the way the administration operates, which is like how much is stuff that they're doing and how much is stuff that they're announcing to get a reaction, or stuff that they're already doing. Right. This is a real problem with trying to understand. And one of the reasons why I think efforts like Unbreaking is really important. Unbreaking.org. Because tracking actions is actually really what is the key and critical thing to do in an environment where you can't trust what people say. Yeah. And so, the press, particularly in its role in reporting what people say.
Oh my God, so frustrating.
I mean, like I've got 3 takes on that. One is, it's a real problem. And like, there's a trend in journalism, if you've gone to journalism school, which to be fair, I have not. However, I have worked at a journalism school. And of course, one of the quotes is, if your mother tells you she loves you, check it out.
Right.
And that is like among the best traditions within American journalism in particular. But the way that social media has changed and just our information landscapes have changed makes running some of the stuff down harder. And there are also people who are derisively referred to as stenographers. I think both derisively referred that way, both inside and outside of the industry, who credulously report what other people say, and that's one of the major ways that the Trump administration, certainly the Trump generally, and the Trump ecosystem has leveraged coverage in the press.
Yes, on purpose.
Sure. Yeah.
And especially that guy who gets academics fired. I can't remember his name.
Posobiec?
No, Rufo. Is it Christopher Rufo?
I mean,
who is it not?
To do it, right?
Right.
I think it was Rufo. Like the guy who got Claudine. I'm misremembering her name. The president of Harvard who left.
Yes, because she did something that everyone else does.
Yeah. Ousted. Claudine Gay. So I was right in part. So that's good. Right. So the issue then is, how do you track what is actually happening? And this is one of the real problems with the fact that information games, where you have the bulk of the resources, are in your favor in part, right? As well as the fact that there's a general climate of fear for people working in the government, right? So whistleblowers and leaking, I would expect to be more precarious in the next couple of years.
Yep. Yeah. It's 10 o'clock now. So all the people who are paying attention.
No, I told everybody 10:30, so we actually need to post that we're starting.
Yes, so we're starting, but we're not starting.
Yeah. No, well, we're starting, but we're not starting the call-in part.
Call-in show is not starting yet. You've got 29 minutes to get ready with your combat.
Yeah.
If you want to combat.
Yep.
And we've set it up so that we can't be Zoom bombed, right?
Yeah, that's right. I've got the waiting room set up so I can selectively let people in as they want to. Starting the stream, we'll be chatting for a bit and then taking callers, starting in 30 minutes.
So,
should I actually link to the thing right now?
Yeah. I mean, like, we should put it in our chat so that people can find it there.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
While you are doing that, it is the 3rd of October. This is Hunter on Combat. He, this way. He is Ted Hahn.
Hello.
I'm Dan Hahn. And as Ted reminded me, it is Bandcamp Friday.
It is, which is very exciting. This is the first time I think we've overlapped with Bandcamp Friday while we were, streaming. So
I am uneducated and a rube, Ted. What is Bandcamp Friday?
Bandcamp Friday is a day. Well, so what's Bandcamp? Bandcamp is a platform where artists can post music and for purchase, which I think is great. And they are sort of an indie darling in a variety of different ways. Their history is long and sordid and complicated. We'll not get into that just yet. But they've done the thing over a number of years, I think starting during the pandemic, where because, sorry, what is Bandcamp Friday? It is a day where Bandcamp gives all of the proceeds, all the profit that they make on sales directly to the artists. So they don't take a cut on Bandcamp Friday. That's a cool thing that they started doing during the pandemic. And when touring and everything blew up, having a practice of trying to help artists in whatever way you can, I think was really critical. I think it's a good practice in general. And the fact that they've continued to do it, I think is a testament to their values, which I think is cool. Despite how complicated they've been as a business, and their sales and things like that. The company was bought by Epic, and I think maybe spun out again after that. Anyway, yeah.
So, I don't remember that. We won't get into that.
Yes,
that's an entire thing on its own.
But the cool part is, if you go buy music today on Bandcamp, then it is. It is what? It is all going to the artist, which I think is quite cool. I want to say, let's see, I created a feed actually of people mentioning Bandcamp links on Blue Sky, which I think is
that's
quite,
cool.
Cool. Let me go find it.
That.
And I can put it up on screen.
Bandcamp.
Yeah, so here's my Bandcamp feed. I'll drop it into the chat over on Streamplace for folks following along there. We can also put it up on screen right here. And yeah, there we go. Right. This is because we're in the other account. But it's pretty cool to have feeds that you could just like spin up. This is a Graze feed. So I just went in and used a regex to say, let's grab any links to Bandcamp. And so this is really any link to Bandcamp artists, including their songs, their albums, and of course just their individual pages. And there are lots of artists who are on Blue Sky. And so I've been trying to use this as a sort of mini discovery mechanism.
That's cool.
I'd like to do more. I unfortunately found out unfortunately that although Bandcamp has a new playlist feature, you can't put songs in it that you don't own. And so it's not really useful as a discovery mechanism. Otherwise, I was like, yeah, let's create some fucking playlists, like daily playlists. But I might see if there are other ways that we can hack around that and do a sort of like, even if you have to play multiple times or, iframe a bunch of this stuff in, see kind of what happens.
So this is this is a thing that I have a question about, because we're talking about creating more App Proto ecosystem apps, right?
Yeah.
So if I wanted to create a Bandcamp top 40 for the top 40 Bandcamp links that have been posted that week, can I do that with Graze, or do I start needing to do stuff like persist and then store everything?
To my knowledge, and I mean, we can harass. Oh, sorry, Devin's busy today. We won't be able to harass him today. Otherwise, I would absolutely harass him.
Right.
But so Graze provides feeds. They do analysis to enrich feeds and running machine learning models and things like that in the background. But you can't get aggregates out of Graze directly, as far as I'm aware. And that's where other tools, or being able to subscribe to a feed and slurp up the data in order to be able to compute stuff off of it, is something that you'd have to do, and kind of the thing that I've been thinking about in addition to these other pieces.
I imagine that Simon Willison will probably knock something up to scrape it into GitHub, throw it into a SQLite database, and then use a bunch of lambdas to throw it out and update it. But he would probably get Claude to do it these days.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, we should ask him things like this. Um, yeah.
So, but that's the kind of thing, So when we've been talking about building interesting stuff on at Proto, that to me seems like one of the other, Yahoo pipesy type steps.
Yeah.
Is there's all this stuff out there. How can I do interesting things with it? It's all public.
Yeah, and this is really kind of the interesting part about the architecture. What up, Bailey? Bailey just dropped in the chat. And the architecture is like really open, right? So the question is, what type of thing do you want to get, and what do you want to do with it, right? And some of this is the like public nature of all of this, which is got its upsides and downsides. But in addition to that, right, you can create feeds of content, and Graves is a no-code feed builder, which I think is super cool. Yes, we're tinkering around with the format, and it is fall now, right? It's October, even here in the Bay Area. Bailey was remarking on our new format and the cinematography, I guess. So yes, we've got a fire to literally have fireside chats with. And also I think, this is like barely tinkering around with OBS, but now having a slightly different layout for how we can set things up. We actually have our first guest. Do we want to let Boris in?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah, let's do it. Oh, what just happened there?
He's up there. He's up there. He's like,
where did Boris go? Hello, Boris, are you there?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
How did you? Okay, so
he's rezzing in from the so I see him in.
Oh, what's happening? Oh,
you turned my video off again.
Interesting. Maybe
I need a idle fighting animation.
Yes, we do. Maybe I'll just bring this down, and then we can see Boris up at the top. We can look up at Boris. How's that?
He's in the cloud. Sorry.
Hey, Boris. Very glad to have.
Sorry, I was supposed to do this. I was also supposed to be prepared, right? Because Ted warned me about this earlier. He was like, "I'm going to have to be doing stuff with OBS, so you need to do, Dan, all the emceeing, and you need to be able to introduce people." So this is Boris. Hi, Boris.
I got the message to come in and help test.
Right. Okay, you're our tester.
Although my camera keeps apparently deciding it doesn't like this mode.
Also useful feedback.
That's a me thing, not a you thing. I believe.
Awesome. We're actually already live on the stream.
Amazing
as well.
Sorry about
also,
that.
thank you for helping test out.
Oh my god, I love Bailey's reference of the subreddit Boris Too High. It took me like half a second to get it. There is a whole subreddit of pictures of people's televisions that are placed above their fireplaces, which is the wrong place to put your television because you are constantly doing this.
Yes.
The whole time. It is the wrong place to put a television.
Yeah.
Also, you are a very small television.
I need to figure out whether or not I can get you down here. Okay, so there's Boris now but now I have been displaced, and can I?
Dan's not shaking hands with me. Can you not see me?
No, I need to be this way. Look, it's some kind of armed monster.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't work.
I need to be looking like that.
That's a bummer. Okay, well, maybe we'll just have to have our guests floating up in the air, and we'll continue figuring this out later. How's it going, Boris?
Shitty. Thanks for asking.
Oh, same. How's in what way is your Friday shitty? I have a list.
There's a sort of miasma in the interwebs, and
the vibes
life.
Are not good.
I made a reference to Neal Stephenson's book First. That's where miasma comes from. Anyway,
Hey, the miasma I've most recently crawled through in media is probably Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, which I played on the GameCube. So just as far back as we're going there.
I did fork check out and get running Deer Social
Oh, okay.
like just like locally on my machine
Yeah.
here. And so I think I'm gonna put some time into that. And I wrote some things down on the App Proto community discourse forum
Hmm.
around like if you're looking for other app views, here's where they are.
Yeah.
Nice.
And yeah, so like I am attempting not to post through it, but I'm attempting to do through it.
Yeah.
Yes. Apparently, we can just do things.
I, I also registered a domain, wecanjustdothings.community. I don't know where to point it at yet, but I bought a domain and that's like we're basically done at that point, right?
Point it at a domain registrar. The first step of doing something is buying the domain.
Yes, yes.
I suppose so. Yeah. Yeah. No, we should talk about that. I've been saying how I want to. Again, nobody remembers D3 blocks because observable exists now, but like a showcase of things that people are doing is probably the thing that we should put there. Yeah, let's talk about.
Oh yeah, that is a great idea. That is a great idea.
Yeah, and it should be a visual thing that you could scroll through. Like the showcase is App Proto has a showcase. It is not quite what we need, and the thing that we need actually is a thing that you can look at, riff on, and like it needs to be multiple things. It can't just be a list of apps. It needs to be weird visualizations people have made. It needs to be like snippets of code, things that can help you have a better experience on Blue Sky or in App Proto, all those sorts of things. So that's what we should do with that.
A magazine.
My opinion.
A magazine.
Ooh,
sure.
A printed
like
magazine
a printed
that comes
magazine.
out once a month.
Yeah. No. These ones about once a quarter, right? And then they're in the news agents if you're in the UK, and they're like your guide to Blue Sky, and then not that one. Not that one. That comes out too infrequently.
Right. This is a quarterly magazine, quarter century
yes.
magazine. Yes.
Yes.
So,
Boris, you said something.
Go ahead.
Boris, you said something about something that pisses me off, which is that you use the word app view, which is us falling down the shitty hole of shitty technical names for things.
Well, it's passe now.
So to be clear, I for the longest time have said they're good apps, Bront, and I just say app, and that's all that I say.
Yeah.
And in some cases, when we go into technical land, I'm like, well, actually, that's a client, or well, actually, it's a whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool, it's an app.
Yes,
that's what it is.
It is.
Yes. So
it is.
I agree. I was of the moment.
In the context, you talked about how you had checked out, cloned, and started. Yeah. Like you were from a more technical architecture point of view. That makes sense. Yeah. But I'm pissed off because it would help the wider world if we were clear on how all this stuff fit together.
Yeah, and I'll remark here that actually, the shift's begun though as well, yes. Right? Like if you look at how Paul talks about it, and actually how I prefer to talk about it is like we can have apps and we can have app servers, and that's fucking fine, right?
Yes.
The whole idea of an app view implies something about the network that literally nobody else understands, unless you were at Protopil. So like, just call them app servers. It's fine. It's an app. It's an app server. It's totally good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. What are you gonna be hacking on this weekend, Boris, if anything?
Let's see. Well, in a couple of hours, I'm actually going to go for a boat ride. Actually, somewhere. This is a spring view, so this is not today.
Okay.
So my friend Mike is like, "Hey, before I take the boat out of the water for the winter, do you want to go outside?" So I will be touching water later today. That is a plan that I have.
Yeah.
I also have a plan to eat hot pot this evening with a group of people.
Nice.
Which will be lovely. Hacking I'd say the other thing is looking for venues for Montreal. So trying to
What's
get
going on in
that
Montreal?
sorted. We're trying to see if there's going to be an App Proto community gathering as well as the IETF meetings that are going there. The IETF stuff is less interesting to me. It's important, and there's work there with that community to be doing, and the folks from the Blue Sky team are going to be there. But it feels like there's what people have said to me is that there's still pent up demand to be like, can we meet other people and jam with them on stuff that we're building? Because we've got ideas, other people have ideas. So the
Yeah.
Cosmic Network team is going to take the opportunity to gather. So Ronan from that team is in Boston. Wesley is in Vancouver, where I am. And so we're going to see if there's going to be maybe 20 or 40 East Coast folks that come together and see what we get done. So that'll be first week of November.
Amazing.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Lots of interesting and exciting things that are actually happening this fall and I guess into the winter. Lots more stuff to come up, right?
Yes, I was also just looking that if people would like to meet at FOSDEM, which is going to be January 31st and February 1st,
Oh,
we have a couple of weeks to submit whether or not App Proto should have a developer room. So need to see who wants to take the lead on that, whose name does not begin with Boris or Ted. Dan, do you want to host a dev room in Europe?
Huh? Huh?
can I get back into the States afterwards?
Oh, see this. I need a
Uh,
soundboard too, right? I've got this set up now.
Yeah. Wah, wah. Yes. No, that sounds cool. Yeah, I totally do it. I'd be terrible at it, but that'd be fun. Yeah, is it still in Berlin? Is it normally in Berlin?
It is in Brussels every year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
20 many years
oh,
at a university there.
that is a place I have still never been to in Europe.
Hmm.
I
Um,
can
yeah.
show you
Uh,
around various places that will serve you a long list of beers if that is something that you like.
I'm very happy to look at names of beers. What is you vaguely alluded um that you were going to do things with your time that were not posting through it. So I think we should just rip off this band-aid and say, well, how should we say this? Um, Jay's posting through it, our CEO.
Yeah, the vibes are not good, as mentioned. And I maybe wouldn't post through it quite in this way, but also, I mean, it's kind of been a crazy week. Like, there's been a lot of exciting things going on,
Yeah,
and kind of a bummer a way to end the week. But I'm still excited about all the things that are going on,
yeah.
and I would be interested to see how long the um,
Tumult.
yes, the main character energy. Oh, that
I'm sorry,
I,
tumult is entirely the wrong word because no, that's minimizing,
yeah.
I
Um,
think.
okay, let's put it this way. Blue Sky has successfully achieved Twitterness in that it is possible to have a main character.
Yes,
And right now, that is the CEO of the platform. So that's not ideal. Yeah.
that's also achieving Twitterness in another similar way on another axis.
Yeah.
But so I saw a conspiracy theory, which I think was only at the beginning stages of Jay posting through it. So maybe when Jay had first posted,
Uh-huh.
which was if they make, is this a deliberate strategy to make Blue Sky so bad that we all leave for somewhere else? And the fact that that came after we've had significant new things
Yeah.
introduced. Like,
I
no, this is the shittiest conspiracy theory. So to be
sure.
fair, this is a complete joke and a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. What can we say? I think that composable moderation is okay. No, no, no. Here's the thing I can say. I'm sad that this became a big enough thing that Jesse Singal actually showed up on the platform.
What?
Yeah,
Oh, for fuck's
he
sake.
posted. So fuck that guy. Let's all be straight. that guy's terrible, and he should be drummed off the platform. But also like the app proto. This is I,
Okay, but that's exactly it. That's exactly that phrase, Ted. No, we know that bullying mods is
Oh,
not a sustainable pattern of
yep.
moderation, right?
So
So
this is
that's the
I
thing.
completely agree. I completely agree. And here's the thing that I would say. I would say I actually do want Blue Sky to stick to their guns on this, and I want the architecture to actually shine. And
yes.
that's kind of the hard and the challenging part. And I always talk about Blue Sky, the skeuomorphism, and it is both an architecture and this like distributed system, and it's also a microblogging app. And the issue here is that Blue Sky is both the community host and also the data host. And that has caused all kinds of like complications here.
This is
And
why names are important and they matter in terms of the branding, in terms of what things do, because then we could be very clear and say, people could have a very clear demand and say, Jesse, Blue Sky should not host your data,
sure,
right? And then someone else could say, Substack could say, oh, we'll totally host it and we'll make it available on the App Proto network. And if you want, there can be a different app if you still want to access it,
yeah,
that will let you access it. And then the community can lobby this particular company and this app provider and this data service
I
provider not to make a certain moderation choice.
so here's the thing. I both believe in the structure of App Proto, and I also think that deplatforming works. And the
Yes.
way that Blue Sky and NetProto are set up is the distinction between freedom of reach versus freedom of speech.
Yes.
And I think that again is a thing they should lean into. And I don't even care if they're his data host particularly. I will say experientially, I tried to look at Jesse Single's account today, and because I'm subscribed to Skywatch.blue, I got a really big fucking
Oh,
content warning
yeah.
before being able to navigate to his profile. And more people should use Skywatch, which I should link to. Let me go find the link.
Yeah, do that, do that.
Yeah, no,
It's a
Skywatch is great. Yeah.
it's a great example, right? So, like I don't see those things because I in fact have rather than the just warning mode, I've gone through Skywatch and I've gone like no, block, 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 block. So it's completely hidden and I don't see it at all. Um, um, my challenge, I just posted about this the other day, of being like, how do I have my account set up?
Yeah.
Right.
For tuning it for what I want to see and what I don't want to see. Aside from feeds, that's the like I'm looking for stuff. What do I definitely not want to see? I stayed on Twitter. Again, stayed on Twitter is a long thing. I was a very, very early user for a really long time. Loved using Tweetbot as a power user tool that had all sorts of things
Yep.
before the app did, and including it had mutes. And I had a 5,000 line Tweetbot mute list. It's not really a format that's portable or anything else like that, but basically, whenever there was a new U.S. political main character, I would like add the name, and I'm following that pattern here. I haven't done anything super sophisticated about it. I don't usually care about play about sports. So Canucks is the local team here, so if people use a hashtag, I like mute those hashtags around sorts of things. If I'm going to be spending time looking at something, I may as well like tune it for what I want. I actually even think that that's weirdly backward looking of we've been doing that for fucking like 20 years and forward
Mm-hmm.
looking needs to be a little different like feeds. Skywatch is one that I subscribe to. I looked at a couple more. Actually, I should post it up right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Hang on, I can show mine as well.
I
Yeah, toss me links. I'll add them to the thread here.
Yeah, so the moderation lists,
Mine doesn't even
uh
fit on the screen.
too furry for me. No offense, furries, just not in my feeds, please. Agreed. Too much anime posting. Mute this list to reduce the amount of unexpected anime posts popping up on screen. I ain't no follow back girl. Accounts that followed me that I think are follow back farmers.
Yeah.
Facebook meme type accounts participating in follow back schemes, resistance flavored pablum, either incipient bad actors or super annoying or both. Content scrapers, accounts that steal sometimes monetize generic, interesting content. Animal, space, nature. Um, Raheli, I don't actually know what her real name is. A bunch of hers, inauthentic,
Oh
false
yeah.
flag, false identity claim, reply
Yeah.
spammers, reply contact spammers, spammers and bad actors, spam accounts, content scrapers, libblue, wave, spam bots.
Yeah.
Um, these are people that I followed that seem to know what they were doing, and they're individuals and it's not group, and I don't think that they're slowly gonna like hide things in there. I have my own bad bots list
Hmm.
that it's the only one that I maintain myself because I run a couple of different accounts. And it's mostly porn bots because I find that they're easy to identify, in my opinion. And then the final thing is I have a bunch of high follow count blue lib folks with like 40,000 people that will follow my account, and I'm just going to be like, you are either a misguided real person or not a real person, and I'm just going to block you.
Yeah.
Not that I care if you look at my account, but I just basically don't want to encourage
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I mean, like this is all about network shape in part,
Yeah.
and through what avenues are people going to reach and connect with you?
Yeah. And just to be clear, those were all lists. And then
Oh,
the Skywatch Blue is the only moderation service
Oh,
that I
right.
that I subscribe to.
I just posted a shit ton of. Okay, well, I'm going to read out, and I posted to my account. So, Ted, if you can find it, you can repost it from the
sure.
Hand-to-Hand Combat. Okay, so the moderation services that I use, there's the fun ones like the Kiki Booba labeler
Yes. Yeah.
and tabletop role playing game class identifier.
Oh boy.
I subscribe to a pronouns labeling service.
Yep, same.
The Xblock screenshot labeler that I think both of you know about because Endra talked about it at Atmosphere. So this
Same.
is a labeler that you can set to just hide or warn you about Twitter screenshots. A now defunct private school and landlord labeler, so one that shows which mostly UK posters went to private school and what the fees are for that private school. Skywatch Blue and anti-alf action. Another Nepo Baby labeler to highlight Nepo Baby accounts, mostly again in media and politics. The anti-Substack labeler, which will warn me, I have set it set to warn whenever someone posts a Substack link. The Yard Crow, which looks like a fun one. AI imagery labeler, which I don't see showing up that much. A follow tracker, so that's the one that you can use if you want to see if people follow Jesse Singal, for example.
Yeah.
And the last one is the Taylor Swift eras labeler, where you can label yourself with a Taylor Swift era, and then that will show up for anyone who subscribes to that label. I have an opinion about what we've just been talking about, other than the moderation services.
Labelers, or are we talking
moderation
about
services?
Taylor Swift era?
No. Way before that. Right. Okay.
Okay.
So.
Okay, wait. But what's your Taylor Swift era?
I haven't chosen one yet.
Yeah, I'm too basic. I mean, like the album of hers that I have is the like most recent one and like 1989.
Yeah, anyway. I think I'm going to say that I'm in the much earlier eras than the more recent ones. The thing that I was going to say is that if I understand right, both of you, especially Boris, you are saying that Skywatch Blue is a great moderation service and that you go and use it and then you customize it to make sure that, for example, with Jesse Singal, when you go and try and view Jesse Singal's content, then it's already under a warning, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I have mine as hide.
Oh, just hide. Okay.
Meaning I don't see it at all.
You don't see it at all, right? I most of my stuff is set to warn, so that I can make I can decide how mean I want to be to myself and look behind the curtain. Often I don't have the willpower, or I just want to see how bad the car crash is. So my deal is, this is the tension, right, between defaults and user agency, right?
Yeah. Here, let me show you what this looks like actually up on the screen, and we can actually. Oh, Boris, you disappeared. But so for example, you've disappeared off screen. Although we can here. Let me pull you down so that we can see it.
It's still a voice.
Yeah. Okay, I'll move. Let me move the things around a little bit. All right, Boris is visible now. Let me grab the Chrome screen, move that down slightly. Okay, all right, everybody's visible again now. Yeah. So here, just to show everybody, like I can type in Jesse Single here. Avatar's blocked out. I click on it, get this big content warning. Profile has been flagged with content warning. I can show anyway. Like that is my preferred experience. And you can see that he's labeled by a bunch of the services as that I use. To your point, Dan, Turf Troll, the Black Sky Moderation Service is listed
Mhm.
as anti-black harassment, and I guess I also have his account muted. So yeah, like I'm okay with that experience. I would like other people to have that experience.
It's the thing, right? So I go straight to an onboarding experience, right?
Mhm.
So and this also, Ted, goes to your, where do I need to sit? This goes to your like discovery type need for, I'm sitting in the wrong place again. I'll just look at that. I can't tell because of the lag. Anyway, I'm a brand new user to Blue Sky.
Mhm.
How do I find out whether or how I can even use a service like this, right, in any of the onboarding? So, for example, you jump straight to, well, when you set up a brand new Blue Sky account, does it tell you about which third-party moderation services are available? If it does, which ones does it tell you about? How would you know if it doesn't tell you that they exist in the first place? Are there multiple discovery? So I mean, like there are going to be multiple moderation service discovery providers. And then, so I think this really comes down to, when you end up pulling it all the way, it's down to, well, do you want a paternalistic platform or not? Or do you want one that allows more user choice? It seems that there are a bunch of people who would say, I want a platform that would have blocked Jesse anyway, right? A more where, for example, like some Mastodon instances, right, values are posted up front when you sign. So it is a bit more like I am.
So I think there's a couple of different things in here. I think there will be different apps.
Yes. Yes.
And people will choose different apps.
Yes.
And you're hearing the asterisks when I say apps, which I'm not going to dive into quite yet. So as an example, Gander, which is Canadian flavored Blue Sky, is going to bundle some moderation settings and some other things like that, and they're going to try and do some novel things like, we know that you're a human Canadian,
right?
And try and do that in a way that isn't invasive KYC. That lots of people would like a no bots feed these days, or proof of human. Other people would like more bots and bot personhood, but that's a whole other thing. And I don't know how. I don't believe that choice is going to be anything other than picking a product.
Yes, no, I absolutely agree.
Only power users will go off piste.
Yeah.
In anything other than regular.
Yes.
So here's the place where I look. Why did starter packs exist? Right. I think there are product moves that you can take here to better customize and allow people to help each other customize. Otherwise, I mean, like the real problem here that we're at the core here is, one, good defaults, and two, what work are you asking users to do? Because most users are not going to do work. That's actually one of the fundamental problems. And then the question is, who's going to do work for you? Is it the app, the product? Is it other users who you're in community with? I think this is one of the big tensions.
Right. It's a continuum, right? Sorry, Boris. You're right, guys.
It's fine. I wanted to share my friend Ryan Betts. So we've been thinking about this for user first data and granular permissions, and we're about to hit this with OAuth permissions and scopes as well. And we have joked about for the last 5 years that we're going to need permission / security settings sommeliers. Sit down, maybe go to the local community center or maybe a service through your school. And in fact, this is too complicated for regular humans. Bad phrase, but it's all too complicated. And much like optimizing your taxes, you may actually need to get help with this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you abrogate all of this probably to, I'm going to say it and people can yell at an AI agent who helps walk you through things.
Yeah. I mean, this dovetails. So what I like about this framing and is this actually is similar to what Darius Kazemi has said about Hometown. And Darius like came up with this in 2017, 2018. The whole idea, and just for folks who aren't familiar with what Hometown is a fork of Mastodon. And Mastodon made this really weird product choice where you have three feeds: the global feed, the server feed, and your follow feed. And those are the defaults that everybody gets. And Darius rightly said, these feeds don't make a lot of sense. And there's also no feed that's only exclusive to my server that nobody else can see. So Hometown's default is you can post just to the people who you're already in community with. And that way you can have, the way he puts it is, sometimes you don't want to speak with your outdoor voice. Sometimes when you're inside, you want to speak with your inside voice. And I think that's great. And the thing though is I've asked him about okay, so how do you think about how this grows and how people onboard and come into this? He's like, well, you've got a mechanic to fix your car. Like, why not have a relationship with other people who are experts who can do this service for an audience or a customer base?
Librarians.
Right, exactly, right? I think that there are other people who are in our lives that can fulfill some of these roles. And some of these things are like, yeah, you build up expertise and help other people. But how do you find, that's still a discovery problem, I'm going to say, right?
It is. So I do think that part of this for the entire rest of the world, if one of the goals is for AT-Proto to be ubiquitous, right? Which is that we would probably have to go through a branding era, or that's how I would make an analogy for this, which is we are at the time where we had raw, unfiltered internet. Okay, then we had community ISPs, then we had AOL coming in. Hey, if you would like a safer walled garden experience, right? And AOL had the whole branding behind it, so you knew what AOL stood for. We had providers in the UK, like British Telecom at the time, say, you're going to get family-friendly internet with us. It comes with all of these filters. It comes with all of these blocks. So the consumer choice is at a way higher level, and it doesn't have to be as granular as, okay, right, I bought internet access. Now I have to make all these other choices. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm saying at one level, I do think at the product level, and it's going to be really important for product branding to be able to say, right, this is the product. It's not blue sky, and this is where we need disambiguation because our terminology is all crap, and this is to do with TEDs. Blue sky is a skeuomorph and looking like Twitter, therefore people thinking that it should behave like a Twitter, which is that if someone is banned from it, they are just gone, period, from the entire network, because there is no other real network right now. So I do feel like, if we are genuinely talking about a protocol, then there are no other applications on the protocol. There are no other servers, practically speaking, visible to a majority of users on that protocol for anyone else to go to.
I'd say
then it can be more
early.
like,
we're
right?
Early
yes, we're totally early. Then it can be more like, right,
so,
an internet with stuff on it.
Yeah. So this is the really frustrating part, is that Proto Community gets flack for not having cloned and running a copy of the entire network because people think instances, and gets flack for it has to be gigantic. And a bunch of us are, it does not. There are choices that you are correct, Dan. It does not help. Where people look around where they currently can't get maple flavored blue sky. They can't get a red version.
Right.
I literally am like, maybe I will host a red version of it, right? And Black Sky has very specific branding that does offer a product.
Yes.
Right. And then that people could choose, but people are like, I don't want that one.
No. So we should be very careful about this, okay? Because they do want them, and then Rudy is very careful about how he is building it, and he clearly has a vision for how he's building it, because it wouldn't be growing the way that it does. And it is, honestly, I think it's remiss of me, and it's a blind spot of mine to say this stuff doesn't exist, because Black Sky does exist.
Yes. My point just being is that they look around and they're like, well, I don't see another option. I'm like, for whatever reason, I don't want this one. I would like to have a list of 10.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'd like one of them to be in Finland, and I'd like to pick the Finland version.
Right.
And its image is a sauna.
Right.
And which a little bit defies the notion of like, is this okay, so sorry, let me back up a step. I was complaining yesterday about a panel that was framed as big tech versus decentralized tech. And I'm like, that framing sucks. That framing sucks for a whole lot of reasons. But I think this is one of those like legibility things of like, is App World all just viewed as big tech, right? And like, what does it mean actually to make these trade-offs, and how are people encapsulating it versus like Mastodon, which is weird in that you have to pick a server, and figuring out which server you want is a whole nother thing there. And like, what does this end up looking like for App Proto and for spaces in App Proto, right? Because this is the other crazy thing that we're talking about. We keep on talking about, well, there aren't other apps. There are actually lots of apps on App Proto already. What we're specifically talking about in this instance is microblogging apps, and the way that a whole bunch of people are talking to each other, which is in one, like, again, personally, I love microblogging. It is like my medium out of a lot of social media, but also like not the most important one, frankly. And
TikTok, TikTok.
Well, not just TikTok, but like video, actually, broadly speaking, is one of the biggest and most used social media formats. And like, so, you know, we're still talking about all of the same governance issues in all of those spaces, and we're still need to get to that. But like the paradox of choice problem within all of these things, like part of why Blue Sky succeeds is that it avoids the paradox of choice. And when people get to the point where they are dissatisfied with Blue Sky's choices, maybe there are options at that point, right? So like it solves the decentralized problem of like, where's the front door? Everybody's clear where the front door is, right?
And we're not talking about so there's technological decentralization, and then the other way that you've been talking about it, Ted, is sovereignty and choice, right? Which I think is the other way that we can talk about it. So big tech, I think one way where we can describe it perhaps more helpfully is the reduction of choice, right? And the elimination of sovereignty and the elimination of user preferences, right? So it's stuff like, you know, you can look at big tech as a way that Facebook makes all these choices for me. It has an algorithm that I do not get to choose, yada, yada, yada.
No, yeah, it's frictionlessness, right? So you are a platonic solid and or cow, and you can glide through this space. And if everything works fine, you don't catch on anything as a frictionless object, then everything's great for you, roughly speaking, up until you fall into the cow grinder or whatever it is.
Right. It is the disagreeing with the defaults part. And I see the problem, like this feels like a bit of a chicken and egg problem, in that we don't have anything. Like Black Sky is probably the closest that we have. You know, we've got I don't know how to pronounce their name in chat. Ian Dotley.
Oh, that's Eli. Yeah,
Eli.
He runs Streamplace.
Okay,
hi, Eli. Thank you.
So yes, this whole distinction between servers and apps, right? Because we have not been the closest that we've been in this position of actually. Okay, so maybe this is a way that people can think about it, right? Right now, we've got people's posts that live on servers and they only live on Blue Sky servers. Effectively, like 99.9% of posts are stored on Blue Sky.
Nice. Let's say 95%.
95%. Yeah, I keep doing this. We're not going to get progress if we keep minimizing the progress.
Yeah.
Okay, right. 90% of people's posts are stored on Black Sky servers, and we can just say that that's your storage, right? That's your server where your stuff is. Mm-hmm. And then your app is how you access it. Your app is like your browser, right? And if you store yourself in one place and you use the app in the same place, then the choices are made for you. The analogy that I was trying to make was that people are now needing to figure out how to use VPNs to get around, say, an ISP's choices in what you are not allowed to access.
Well, I mean, also your legislature's choices.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to start at ISP and then I was going to go all the way to the state, and then whichever level of country level or legal level jurisdiction that you fall under, right? So people are starting, more and more people are starting to learn about using VPNs. Yes, a PDS is basically an app proto VPN. So there are going to be apps and there are PDSs for you to get around. And this is the decomposing of the application layer, right? For social applications that are going to be a bit VPN-ish for people to use. In that Jesse can go somewhere in that.
Fuck that guy. Let's pick somebody else.
Okay, right.
Me, I have to move because I have unacceptable views about mangoes.
Waffle? No, let's not do waffles.
No. We could do waffles. We could do Kiki Boba.
Kiki Booba, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to be in a Kiki only community, right? So my choice is so let's see. So we've got end to end, right? So we've got many products. We've got many apps that can access the network. We'll just call it the internet right now. We've got people who will refuse to host Kikis, right? So then I can choose to have my Kikiness stored on a Kiki-friendly server, of which there are many. And I can access the network through my Kiki-friendly product or app, which will let me see all of the Kiki stuff and maybe any Booba stuff, any specific Booba stuff that I want to see, right? But maybe they'll just block all Booba stuff first.
Yeah.
Which to me feels like the VPN part is, okay, I get to route around someone else's choice. The VPN bit is a bit sneaky, whereas this is designed specifically into the system. But until we have enough visible, or it's like, maybe this is crisis style, until something bad happens enough, or until something bad enough happens that enough people need this choice, then it is it is much harder to justify the investment in it. Like it's already hard. Like we're already looking at the way that the Blue Sky infrastructure is funded, right? And I had a thread earlier in the week about trying to explain, well, where are the incentives? Where why would someone spend the money to do this? Where is the money? And comparing this to the last time, or one of the last times we built a bunch of stuff at the protocol layer, which was because there was speculation and because people thought they could make crypto money and did make crypto money off it. So I think we come full circle back to Ted's point, which is like, how do we enable creators? And part of this has to be the economic value.
Yeah. No.
Good. No. Yes. No. Challenger.
Or yes, and if we want to be more kind. So ultimately, we will always be in this. We are at the I've said this before, this is not original either. We're at the pre-aqueducts and pre-sewer stage of online communications still. And at some point, people have to decide, people need to join together in commons and decide that they don't want shit flowing down the sidewalk anymore. Yes. And right now, they feel disempowered. They feel a lack of agency, right? It's not even an expense thing, right? Let's say it's $300 for the entire backfill a month.
Yeah.
Let's say it's 500, right? Again, that's peanuts compared to a $10,000 a month engineer or something like that, right? As well. But let's say it's $500, right? So 10 people at 50, that's a lot. 50 people at 10, oh, interesting. Well, that seems super doable, but still high. 500 people at $10 a year, like, okay. Yeah. Maybe we should not have shit flowing down the sidewalk anymore. Are you in for $10 a year?
Yeah. So yes. absolutely 100% yes. And this is why. So I will walk back,
Yes, we can be the
or
anti-shit
maybe
party
I
again.
hopefully left my. Uh, maybe I can walk back, or find myself a lawyer loophole when I said part of it needs to be the finance aspect, right? Because Black Sky is succeeding. It doesn't have, and it succeeds based on its community realizing that it is a resource in commons that needs to be paid for. So it is, we're putting a community together, and then this is what it costs to run the community. We talked with North Sky, right, about how they are going to be run and how they're being run. So, Boris, I'm absolutely with you on, the consequences are coming down, right? And it's, well, is this important to you? Because no one is going to do it for you for free. Someone is going to have to do this work. It is going to cost some money. It doesn't have to make someone $1 billion, right? But it does cost money, and it does cost effort, and it does cost time. And there can be as many of those communities as possible. This is like SFB. I did the maths on what would it be like to run Mastodon servers, for larger communities. And it doesn't have to be that much per user. Until big asterisk, you get into the is this community big enough to have to run moderation at scale, and what scale means?
Exactly. This is exactly it. We like ultimately, again, doing citywide sewers,
right. Yeah,
is not a lot on a per person basis, but like at a less than city scale, that then you get these aspects where it's like, well, it's not big enough to justify the thing, right? So I fully understand that, and I'm sort of focusing on the like, can we get people to care? We can solutionize, like, no problem, and it feels very tough to have to always do the, well, we literally are going to have to build it and they will come. This is literally what Rudy is doing.
Yeah.
And he's building the culture and doing the communication along the way. And as I've said before in other threads, we can't have Rudy being the only one showing the way.
Yes.
Yeah. So
do you know why? I know why Rudy's succeeding. Right. And I know why this is difficult. I'm going to stereotype here, and I'm going to say I think I know why this is difficult for the tech community to do. It's because Rudy sees himself foremost as a community organizer. And Boris, you said that this is a people problem. So he's looking at it completely from a people first point of view. Mm-hmm. I do think it's kind of as simple as that. Because the way that I was responding in my head is that as much of this is a comms issue, right? Like it's a marketing issue, or it's like, how do we get people to care, that this matters, that they don't want shit flowing down the sewers, and then they want to do something about it. And we've seen that one approach that's worked throughout history is through community organizing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the product has to be more than a slightly different colored thing.
Yes.
My frustration really just is, how do we help support people in coming together as commons? And that's all the way up and down, right? Like, so Ted and I are slightly too load bearing for way too many things, right? So, I got some great help the other day I'm like, I can't process this 10 gig of video that Eli from Streamplace did. And I put the word out, and 2 people said, I will help with this video. Thank you, Tony and Sharpie. That was great. In the same way, I'm trying to very clearly say that someone needs to organize the developer room in FOSDEM, while also being super clear that I'm like, I can't jump on this grenade, and I can't jump on every grenade.
Yeah. So this, I think, comes back quite strongly to the agency thing, and we can just do things, but actually we need to do things, right? And this is the struggle that I've been having in part with we're just in show don't tell at this point. And if we don't start showing more, then people will just start making assumptions about shit, or bad things will happen.
So here's where I'm going to say that it does come back to the financial part again, because we live in a shitty economic environment. And I'll just say that, like, I'm in my mid-40s now. I have a family and I have a mortgage. I do not have the amount of spare time or energy that I used to have to be able to do this stuff in my spare time, or honestly, to be able to do it for significantly less money than I would need to do it for right now, if we're talking about, this kind of stuff. In terms of the stuff that I think needs to exist, it's the equivalent of the turnkey. Like, I love the idea of unions, for example, being a pre-existing community organization that provides services for their members. Right? I would love to think about a way in which there is something that is built on AT Proto that meets union members' needs, which requires organizational transformation in the union to really think about what members need these days and how unions are uniquely positioned to provide those kinds of services. So then it's working backwards and like, okay, well, what genuinely interesting new technology exists that could meet those needs, in a significantly better way than before, or those needs were never met before, and how can we build it in a way that is as easily copy and pasted as possible?
This is complicated in several types of ways.
Yeah, also, I know.
we've got a new caller. Should I let you in?
Yeah. Oh,
and I should head out. I need to go prep myself for touching water.
Yeah.
So
have a good time.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Boris.
Glad we can make it. Bye.
Yeah. Thanks, Boris. Bye. And let's see how this goes. Hey, Eli. Welcome to Hunt Combat.
Thank you,
Eli.
Challenger.
I've managed this transition many times in my career, where you go from watching the live stream to participating in it, and you actually are thrust forward in time a few seconds because there's less latency on the Zoom call necessarily. So that's always a fun experience for me.
Yeah. Welcome to the future. How is it going back in the past?
It's fine. It's a really. I'm happy you did a call-in show. I'm happy to see people doing more stuff like this on Streamplace. And
yeah, well, I don't think I've done this, but I need to actually shout out Patrick Singletary, who helped me get the config set up for all of this initially. That's the reason why we're on Streamplace, and of course, Streamplace wouldn't exist without Eli. So thank you very much, Eli, for making a streaming thing happen. I remember Boris pointed me at the code base. I'm like, what the hell is all this? This is a crazy amount of stuff already just here in the App Proto ecosystem. So
I've managed to derail several sort of like let's advance the app view conversation. What are we going to call them instead? And Streamplace has been pleasantly uncategorizable in that context, where it has an embedded PDS, mostly does sort of indexer app view things, but that sort of things. And yes, shout out Patrick Singletary. He also wanted like got to be in the first 10 real Streamplace supporters, and organizes GitHub issues for us, and just does a ton of work like that behind the scenes. It's been awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm super interested in your opinion about some of the things in the sort of community building piece, particularly since Streamplace is very much, certainly in the App Proto ecosystem, but also engages very heavily in the Blue Sky ecosystem, all the way through to the live badges that y'all now can issue, which I think is great. But then their community issues are your community issues, right?
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's, in some respects. So one thing we have going for us that I think is difficult for Blue Sky, where everybody in this expressing frustration that how much of this community just sees it as it's Twitter, but it's Jay instead of Elon kind of thing. One advantage I think Streamplace has is that we can deliver on, if you make a Twitter clone, there's only, it's going to look like Twitter.
Right.
We can make a Twitch clone, but the hope is that we can also deliver on some sorts of experiences that things you haven't seen before from Twitch in a way that might be difficult to do maybe there's ways to do it in a microblogging platform. I don't know, but so like one example is we've got our first. This is all I mentioned this in a blog post. This has always been part of the plan, was for us to do bespoke apps, right? So not just our pitch to a big Twitch streamer. It's not switch from Twitch to Streamplace. It's switch from Twitch to your own app and have your own presence on the App Store and Play Store, have a direct relationship with your fans. But because of the app protocol and because it's still backed by the same Streamplace that other apps and other websites are speaking, you can still have chat that works across all of these. You can still host other streamers and show their streams in your app on your platform, that sort of thing. So this is all got our first two people. Sharpie mentioned earlier is gonna be one of the first people we ship this for as we get it going. Also the Lot Radio, longtime collaborator of mine and of Live Peers that is looking for their next generation app. So I don't know. That's part of our strategy, I think, is to show them things they haven't seen before and maybe get them curious about, how does all of this actually fit together? What is this protocol thing?
One thing that I'm interested in is, Ted, did you know that Vimeo had been bought by the Italian shitty company Bending Spoons?
Bought by? No.
Yeah.
Recently?
In the last 3 weeks.
Oh.
So if people don't know, Bending Spoons is an Italian, I think now equity-backed software company. What they do is they take pretty, I would say, established applications, one of them being Evernote, right? And I think also WeTransfer, right? And then they bleed them dry. They cut all the costs and they milk them. They are kind of like your classic private equity, Richard Gere, Pretty Woman era, like we'll buy a thing and then we'll just milk it. So they bought Vimeo. And Vimeo is the white label CDN behind beloved comedy network Dropout.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting if there were more choices available in more open protocols that also, potentially aligned with values like Dropout. So Dropout is an entertainment network, and they, for example, Sam Reich, its owner, but not owner, its CEO, was and owner, majority CEO, majority owner, let's say. Or recently, or at least I recently saw a video from Sam talking about how they don't have exclusivity with any of their talent contracts, and that they see this as a net benefit with them, right? Because then they don't lock in any of their talent. Their talent are free to do other projects, and then they're available when Dropout needs them. And then they see this as a good thing. So I think, so Eli, I am optimistic, right? And I also offer you an apology in my pessimistic view of how things are in the AT Proto ecosystem, because I keep forgetting. I'll say it is weird that I keep forgetting that Streamplace is an AT Proto app, which makes me think about the overall AT Proto branding and comms in the first place.
Yeah, it's an interesting problem trying to figure out how to. I mean, even down to like the login process, right? Where it's we used to have our first iteration, we shipped like. So, state of the art right now is you type in your handle into the login, and we use that to resolve your PDS and get you into the OAuth flow. Well, I mean, that's already way too much. There's a million Blue Sky users that only know their email address and don't actually have the specific spelling of their handle memorized, much less realize that they need to type .bsky.social at the end in order to make that happen. So there's so much room to improve what that experience looks like. My background is from Web3 and Ethereum stuff, and in that one particular area, I'll say that's a place where they're still blowing us out of the water a little bit, where Wallet Connect is really ubiquitous. So I've got my wallet on my phone with the IMEli.eth identity associated with it. Any Ethereum ecosystem app that I encounter will have a QR code. I open the wallet, scan the QR code, and I'm logged in. Way nicer than the @proto experience. Probably something we can copy if we make some kind of SDK that every @proto mobile app has, and they all are capable of scanning these QR codes and sending you to the right place. It would take a little doing, but I think that kind of thing would help with that.
I haven't thought about trying to integrate that into AIP, but maybe that is actually the right place to do some of
that. The other thing about that is I absolutely love the terminology about that and how accessible it is, which is, this is my wallet. Yes. I don't have to think about a PDS, right? It is a good name for it. It is a good name for a personal thing that you would not share with anyone else. And if you did share it with anyone else, then you would, the consequences of that sharing are pretty understandable in an outline, as to how valuable that might be.
Yeah, I mean, I think that stuff's complicated across a couple of dimensions, which is both that people think that software is undoable, and it's also crypto flavored, or in terms of perception.
I wouldn't use the exact term, but something in that space, or rather, kind of like being inspired by what are the things that people already know that are particular to them, and especially if we want to move away from something like, this is your login or this is your username, where it's a bit more like identity, which then we come what feels like a bit full circle and back down to like Microsoft Passport and log in with Google. What's your Google?
Yeah.
And that's not the worst ever. Honestly, if your PDS has Google OAuth and we can bounce you from Streamplace to Google to PDS to Google to Streamplace or something like that. I don't know exactly how that works, but I'd take it. That would probably work for 5 million people would gladly use that every single day. But at the enter the handle thing, we have analytics, like we know people drop off at that point.
Yeah.
So that's something you could do with help with.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because it needs to be ecosystem like that. That's what we would need buy-in from Blue Sky in particular to make something like a QR code based thing happen. I think even as a middle ground, I don't actually hate. Most users want to log in with Blue Sky, and you can do the thing where you put a login with Blue Sky button there. I don't even hate the idea of have the top 5 independent PDS hosts there, have Blue Sky and Black Sky and self-hosted .social and whatever. That would improve the experience a little bit and give and also from the just from like an educational sort of perspective, that immediately gets the feel of it, which is it's actually like all of these accounts in all of these different places that come together to make this thing happen. But it's a hard problem.
Yeah.
It's also it also kind of brings to mind, what can we learn from the early stages of all of the plethora of products and choices that we had, in the earlier internet era. Because then I'm thinking about, we've got the tension behind the streamlined product experience, right? That offers kind of choice, but not too much choice. So I noticed, Eli, that you were saying, okay, well, we can go with the top 5. And then I worry about, and maybe this is a premature worry about, branding and accessibility, right? Are these names that people will be able to get on with? What's the goal here? Another question actually that I've got is when you both talk about, extensions to the protocol, how, if in any way whatsoever, those are prioritized for stuff like, okay, well, what we'd really like to do for the next 3 months is focus on stuff that's going to help with growth, right? And how we would look at growth, like whether we would look at growth in the way that you're talking, like whether we're looking at like user acquisition or something like that, or whether we're looking at, okay, well, we need some fundamentals that don't exist in other directions.
I mean, like right now, so actually Eli's a really interesting person to talk to about this because of the fact that the work that Eli's doing is like it's multi-protocol functionally speaking, right? But the sort of foundation to this is the fact that the protocol I think that Paul Frazee, CTO of Blue Sky, has a really good take on the idea of the way that you evolve a protocol and doing it in conjunction with a product. And I think that that was clever of them, and that they have actually designed something that is useful along a variety of axes while trying to build a thing. So they have both the proof of concept and all of the components. Great. Other people can take that and use that, like Eli. But what we haven't really seen yet is the next set of iterations of the protocol, and I think that's going to be really interesting in a multi-app environment. And this is where I'd be super curious about Eli. You have worked with Blue Sky on things that end up being feature-y things within the app, for example. Are there protocol level things that you've also worked on with them?
Not on a protocol level. On a code level, I think we're one of the more, we're pushing at the boundaries of the Indigo like PDS code and that sort of thing in ways that I think have been somewhat interesting. I also will be going to so they're starting the standardization process. I'll be going to the ITF in
Montreal amazing,
and
cool.
And talking about, one of the things you have to do if you're standardizing is proving that it's useful for people outside of your company. So yeah. I happy to be of use to them in that context and show up at the Birds of a Feather meeting, I guess it is called.
Yeah. BOF. Yeah.
Yeah, we're an interesting case for so I joked earlier that Streamplay sort of cosplays that private data exists already. And the data model looks a lot like Blue Sky records, even when we're just storing them in like our own Postgres database. And for stuff like multi-stream targets, right? You obviously don't want to put your Twitch stream keys into your repo and that sort of thing. The other one, of course, is the video segments themselves, which I could take every 1 second. So, behind the scenes, this live stream is a series of 1 second MP4 files that are getting stitched together very expertly by Streamplace. I could take all of those and throw them at your PDS, but then you'd get suspended for rate limit violations on Blue Sky immediately.
Yeah.
It's also a user expectation mismatched, where if you do something embarrassing on your stream, you're not necessarily expecting that video is immediately within seconds archived and downloadable by anybody. You might want the opportunity to pull back there. So that's when I say cosplaying, it's sort of like so like in a large way, the video is off protocol right now, but I am very interested in figuring out like, okay, what's a slightly faster version of AppProto look like? What does sort of something like an AppProto roll up look like, where you could have a sort of faster live video segment thing that updates the state of your PDS every 30 seconds or something along those lines. We're probably very far, I'm talking about L2s now, we're probably very far from solving the teaching regular users about AppProto problem. Yeah, that's an interesting area for us.
Yeah. You're muted, Dan.
But what we would, ideally, we don't have to teach regular users about AppProto, and then we're back to the equivalent of this is a website on the internet, and I can choose different browsers that that allow me to do different things, or different, or we're back to, yeah, this is an app on the internet. This is the Spotify app. This is Real Player. This is whichever, and then you don't. How much new stuff do we need users to know?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I mean, the dream is over time, without even realizing it's happening, that the concept of, oh, that's a live stream, but it only works in the Twitch app, just is eventually, without us saying a word, eventually people are like, oh, that's weird. Why would that be true? It's video. Why can't you just send it somewhere else? Why can't you see it through other apps? That sort of thing. I don't know. It does help though. It's a funny. There's sort of I kind of think about the opposite situation. I have to like draw crypto comparisons because that's where my career has been for the last 6 years. But it's so interesting to me how with the crypto universe you have all of these people that are like zealots for the technology, and they're like, oh, this is this decentralized money thing that's going to replace banks and everything. Even though they've never had a self-custodial wallet in their life, like they've just used they have a Coinbase account. They have all these fees and they have a Coinbase account. It's almost the exact opposite situation of AppProto, where there's all these people that just have a Blue Sky account, don't know a thing about the protocol, even though by the good protocol design, they're participants in this decentralized network already. So it would be nice if the protocol is like really good and cool, and it would be nice if we could get more people evangelizing it, even if you're not a tech enthusiast, but it's a hard nut to crack.
Yeah. Well, then because then that also comes back to the what's the relative advantage? What thing that's new does it do for me that Twitch doesn't do? That isn't too much from our point of view. It's super neat that this is decentralized, right? It's super neat that you can put it in lots of different places. But then the question is going to be, okay, for what? Which is
I think of we've got a few different like how will Streamplace make money eventually, sort of schemes in the works. Making these bespoke apps that I referenced earlier is one of them, but another is, or I guess just an expansion of that is there's somebody that should be a paid PDS host out there that reliant on shout out to Bailey in the chat for self-hosted.social, but some people might very reasonably prefer the security of a modest monthly payment that they can operate their own PDS on. So you combine all of those things, and then you get we're talking about these bespoke apps. I'm like, also social apps open source. So if you also want the entirety of Blue Sky in this app alongside whatever Streamplay streams you're doing, you can do that. The few people I've expressed that to so far have been sort of horrified at the idea that there would be all of these different apps that you can do the same thing. But maybe that's something we got to win the web browser analogy. Maybe that's something we got to just win people over and deliver better and more consistent experiences. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
There is, so for example, my newsletter, I moved it away from Substack a while ago, and I moved it to Buttondown. And I'm just thinking, because I had a chat with Justin, who runs Buttondown quite a while ago, and they're doing quite well. And one of the big things about Buttondown is that it's not Substack. So a lot of the people, there are a lot of independent, I would say, newsletter writers who use Buttondown out of ideological reasons. So I wonder what the potential is for partnerships where, for example, Streamplace can work with Buttondown. It doesn't have to be white label. It doesn't necessarily have to be full-on integration, because I think my guess is that Justin and Buttondown are very clear about their mission. Is like, we do newsletters. We're not going to be shitty like Substack and then build walled gardens or anything right for you. When Substack's doing its pivot to video, or its last pivot to a social network or streaming. But it might be a way, that might be an interesting, okay, well, what are the other like indie style, non-big tech applications out there that people are using where there's mutual benefit of something like this, right? So they can point to somewhere like Streamplace or Buttondown can have a streaming place type thing for the people there who want to use it. Otherwise, they might be tempted back to, they're probably not going to be tempted back to Substack because of the ideology. Or they might be looking for something else, in that if you're at Buttondown, you may not have such a great view of Twitch.
I mean, a lot of this stuff fundamentally gets down to, does AppProto actually make switching costs lower?
Right.
And some of that we haven't fully seen play out. I think that the theory is there, and things like Black Sky existing is part of that, and being able to demonstrate both interoperability and the ability to switch. Shout out again to Bailey in terms of helping people move over. But like that's actually one of the things that we really need to see, and I think that that's true for apps and other things where like people need to be comfortable with the idea that you can switch, that there are other service providers, right?
And you and I talked about this briefly, Ted, but I also think that there's, I actually think we're limiting ourselves a little bit in terms of like, oh, well, I have a PDS and this is my physical server over here that has my PDS on it. When the beauty of I've done even within AdProto, I've dug way deeper into like the repository structure than most probably have at this point. It's a really, really good data model. It's super it's incredibly efficient for peer-to-peer syncing, even in a situation where you'd have, multiple nodes that could be authoritative on it. They can really easily construct proofs and send data to each other. And I think it's kind of a shame that we have this like incredible peer-to-peer data structure and we're like very much keeping it in one place. This whole concept of switching from one PDS provider to another gets so much easier if, I run my own PDS at ime.ly, but there's no reason that Black Sky and self-hosted.social couldn't also be syncing and, completely up to date with everything that I post on that PDS, such that my server goes away and in 5 seconds I do a PLC migration and I'm back up on some other host, right? There's no reason it shouldn't be that easy, and we're sort of designed for it. But yeah, it's just like switching what the authoritative source is.
You're muted again, Dan.
How fast can that be? Because if I want to do something really fucking stupid, in like a science fiction dystopia, which is I have access to a whole bunch of different PDSs, and I'm on the run. Can I rotate can I have my PLC rotate between a huge pool of PDSs every second or so?
Well, so there's a couple of interesting things there, which is one, what's the SLA on the PLC?
Right. It's the one it's the single one that's run by Blue Sky and will be run in Switzerland. No, it doesn't have to be. It's whatever one you want, right?
Well, kind of, right. So this is actually exactly the thing I was going to get to, which is actually, and this completely aligns with all the things that Eli is saying. What Phil, badexample.com has been writing about is, what's the resilience of the PLC as a structure, and are there ways to be able to consider failover from a technical perspective? And I was really encouraging them to write more about this because of the fact that like we should be planning for bad things to happen to the PLC, even if we like the governance, right? I mean, like failover and being able to plan for contingencies here is like kind of important as a element of resilience, no matter what. And the thing that they were writing about is the fact that the structure within the PLC is a bunch of small MSTs, right? Basically. So like you actually can do syncing in a piecewise fashion with the PLC that would allow you to run mirrors. And Paul Frazee has also said, like, yeah, this is exactly the way that he had hoped somebody would do mirrors. And that kind of just broadly aligns with this model of like, can you componentize these things? Can you do quick syncs? The thing that, and this is where I was talking with Eli a little bit about this, and like, oh yeah, I totally see exactly how this would work. I don't know that anybody's worked on this in practice, and I don't expect it to work out of the box. But like some of this is like, we should actually just try some of this stuff, coming back to the like, we can just do stuff thing here. Because like, to your dystopian perspective, point of view, like there's nothing stopping people from keeping hot swaps.
Right, live. Yeah. I want to play a shell game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my favorite bit from Sneakers, where they have to bounce the call between 7 or 8 different boop, 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 and make it hard to trace.
Yeah, it got turned into a video game called Uplink. That's really cool.
Yeah, I've still not played that. It's on my list.
It's really good. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think the PLC. I mean, I don't know. I'm on record with. I will always take the L on the unpopular opinion, but I'm on record as saying, "Oh, look, PLC, you've discovered the rare perfect use case for a public blockchain, right? Like it's
oh no, I totally no. I'm down for it. It's like yes, right. That's what you need.
Yeah. And
hey, again, it's an append-only log. I refuse to say it's a blockchain. It's a Merkle. It's not actually even a Merkle tree, but I love Merkle trees. Fuck blockchain. There we go.
At proto and that's what I think is going to be interesting in the IETF conversation. Blue Sky team loves to tell you it's not a blockchain. It's definitely not a blockchain. The repos are all MSTs, and you can construct proofs of them, and all of the keys that you sign with are
what's
256K1 keys, and it's not a blockchain.
This is the reason why
better than a block.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
no, it's a ball chain.
It's a ball chain. It's a hypercube chain.
Hyper chain, tesseract chain.
But no, this is the reason why I prefer to refer to some of these things as like, can we say like post blockchain, like post like I want to be able to loot blockchains for all of the things that I think are useful and not have to deal with the baggage. So anyway, yes. That's the politics of the situation. Otherwise, I mean, like Eli, yeah, you're absolutely right.
The easy way of doing that is just calling this blockchain too.
Post blockchain is powerful. I need to meditate on that a little bit.
Well, no, this is the thing I was suggesting to Nick Jarakinis, and the reason why he ended up writing his blog post about thinking about possible payment systems. But like, I do think that the destructive politics of blockchains, and like, you know, Paul was talking about political economy. I do actually largely think that @Proto's architecture avoids, even though it uses a lot of the same components, which is really what I think is exciting about it. And being able to, and even to the point where I'm like, you know, is @Proto a protocol? It's like a stack of interrelated technologies. Is that a protocol? I fucking know.
No, that's exactly right though. And
it's a platform.
But and
we call these things platforms.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what's, you know, I had been trying to do Streamplace in one form or another every 6 months. Live Peer, even before that, I tried to build something very similar on Scuttlebutt. And the problem with all of the on-chain stuff is because the transactions are so damn expensive. Even with L2s and everything, you just can't pay a penny every time you make a post, and they know that. So then there's immediately like, okay, so there's the on-chain component, and then we've invented this other thing that lives on these servers that's off-chain. What the @Protocol gives you is, without having to use any of that, like it gives you software architecture, right? It gives you the Streamplace can store private records in an internal repository an internal @Proto repository that it doesn't share with everybody, but we still get to use the same, you know, all of our data is serializable as CBOR and accessible in the same way and efficient to replicate node to node in a peer-to-peer fashion, because we're following all of this. And that's what the protocol gives you that you don't. If you're preoccupied with how do I tokenize this and how do I sell it to people, you're never going to get to this point. If you're saying, how can this work actually as a global network that has all of these pieces feeding into it? That's where you get. It's the best. That's what I plan to say to the IETF. If there's any, I know that like IETF won't get close to anything crypto related with a 10-foot pole. So that's what I plan to say is like, look, this kind of thing, working in this tech for 6 years, this is like the crypto community at its best came up with some ideas like this when they weren't overly focused on the hyper financialization of it, and they just wanted to figure out on how to deliver new experiences. That's when you get stuff like the @Protocol.
Yeah. I mean, so if the post blockchain framing is useful, like absolutely take it and run with it, right? Like for me, and again, as somebody who is I read the Satoshi blockchain paper back whenever it was released and was like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like a really fascinating piece of socio-technical writing. And then people were implementing it, and it went to places that I'm like, oh, this is absolutely fucking not. So I am a blockchain hater, broadly speaking. The thing that I will say about @Proto personally for me was reading through it allowed me to situate a bunch of things that had come out of the blockchain and Web3 ecosystem and contextualize it in ways that made them make sense to me. And that's the reason why I was like, oh, this feels like a post-blockchain thing as opposed to and even like, where did I first hear of Paul? I first heard of Paul through his Vitra paper, which is about, hey, you don't need a blockchain to do smart contracts. You can actually just use Merkle trees. And that's eventually like the PLC is like kind of inspired by Vitra, as far as I could tell, in terms of like intellectual lineage. But App Proto really pulls together these different pieces of like social media technology, scale, things that you want at scale, addressing some of Secure Scuttlebutt's issues in terms of like the syncing pieces, and then this like weird fucking like data transfer format that allows you to provably distribute stuff. Like it's kind of incredible. But like until I saw App Proto, I would not have thought to pull all of those pieces together, and that's really the thing that I think is kind of incredible about the ecosystem. So that's why I'm like post blockchain.
And that's the other like clutch piece that evolves on both Scuttlebutt and cryptocurrencies is you don't sign every individual action that comes through. You sign your entire repository, which in practice means you can delete stuff, right? You can be embarrassed by a post and delete it, and it is actually gone. And anybody who's syncing your repository will also delete it from their cache in a like maximally efficient kind of way. And it turns out that's, if you're doing for every use case except literally money, that is what people want, right? So that's blockchain for everything else kind of vibe.
Yeah, which is like kind of crazy. And so I mean like what I like about it is, and actually, sorry, let me get to architecture things a little bit more. The thing that I also like about App Proto is the fact that it's broken up into service layers, and the messy part that I think that people haven't quite figured out, and like we actually haven't figured out as a product ecosystem, is which things are actually user-facing features that poke out and that people should understand, and which things are actually service provider to service provider functions. And right now we kind of just talk about the whole thing together. And there are things that are in here that are mostly useful to service providers, and having other peers within the service provider ecosystem, as opposed to things that we should be talking with end users about. And we haven't entirely hit the like right abstractions for being able to talk about the benefits and useful, like talking to end users about like, no, look, see, your data is all stored in a Merkle search tree, right? Like that's crazy. And like even talking about like what are the features of a Merkle search tree? You see, it's kind of like a blockchain. Like no, absolutely fucking not, right? Like so coming up with better ways to talk about these things, I think, is something that we need to do, and we actually haven't gotten to, even for people, because we're still at the phase of people trying to wrap their heads around like, what the hell is this whole thing in aggregate or even in pieces, which is kind of also one of the reasons why I'm like, let's like calling it a protocol is the wrong thing, because we want to be able to talk about how the pieces are composable too.
One of the strategies I think is to go after the power users. I worked with and know a lot of Twitch streamers who are by necessity pretty technical. Like just a lot of these like streaming setups. It reminds me of like people with big complex digital audio workstations in some ways, where there's like 17 different apps that are all integrating through 4 different protocols, and it's kind of a mess. But answer a frequently asked question, will Streamplace do VOD? And the answer is yes, eventually. We want to get really good at live streaming first. Going after YouTubers and having it be like, no, the big YouTubers have like big NASs and storage servers at their house if they care about holding on to all of their video. I want to be able to go to them and say, no, that's the canonical store of your video. That's your content library right there. And you're not serving it to the whole world through that server that's in your house. That would be ridiculous, but that is what, and if you want to delete something, then you delete it from that server, and now it's not there anymore. And I think going after content creators and that, I think that's appealing, probably. I think going after content creators as to, no, like you own your content, and not in some theoretical sense, like literally there is the place where all of your files are hosted from, and everybody else is pulling and transcoding and transforming off of that. And you start to win people over, and so then you get 1 million YouTubers converted to using this, and then they explain what's happening to their friends. And
so what would it take? So from your point of view, what would it take to get someone like Quinn Nelson, or a smaller like a Scott Hanselman, or someone to be like the first one? Presumably they need substitutability, right? It's like I can put this in place and I can still do all the stuff that I was doing before.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a little bit of our hack with we're shipping multi-streaming really soon.
Yeah.
Where you stream to Streamplace and go on to there's the old story of Dell and Asus, where Dell was making their own computers, and then they outsourced the construction of the computers to Asus, and then they're like, oh, we can also outsource the design to Asus, and think of
Right.
how much money we'll save. And then
Yeah.
Asus is like, by the way, we now make and sell computers. And
Yeah.
Dell says, what?
Yeah.
That's our strategy with multi-streaming, right? Is well, you send your stream to Streamplace and you get all this utility, you get free
Right.
multi-streaming, you can archive it, you can do
Yeah.
all of these cool things. It's on the AT protocol, and as more and more people do that, it goes, oh, why was I also sending it to Twitch again? I don't know.
Right.
What was that part about? That's the thinking anyway. So I think you'd want to, VOD's harder in that, for somebody, especially an established YouTuber, they're going to want to come over to something like Streamplace, and they're going to want to bring 15 terabytes of content library. And that's
Can you
that's
do
part of the
it?
reason we're not doing it right now, right?
Yeah.
But
Can you do it in stages though? So could someone like Quinn Nelson start using Streamplace higher up in the, well, lower down in the stack, right? And then still use YouTube or whichever for VOD, and then slowly migrate over so that there's, it's not a big switch. There's more of a roadmap.
yeah, our process for that looks like we're so before we do full proper VOD, we will have live stream recording.
Mm-hmm.
And so then that's part of the utility where
Right.
you're, especially when you're streaming, you send it to Streamplace, or you stream from your phone and you send it to Streamplace, and now you've got all of your content in all of your recordings in one place. And even if you're not focused on like the at proto publishing side, that's still utility for you.
Yeah.
And then you can go ahead and then it ends up on YouTube or whatever. But eventually, that becomes the basis of your VOD library, or especially for a lot of. It's funny. A lot of streamers have like a separate YouTube channel that is just the VOD recordings. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's kind of high noise for people that just care about your more polished videos. So maybe we go after that section first.
Yeah.
And take it from there.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Community memberships model question. Yes. Want to do a second try or Nebula type exit without contracting someone to build them a TV app? Yeah, so that's definitely part of the strategy. Also, is for in positions like that, we want Streamplace to be. It's just like so. I've already got all
the
my live stream
default
recordings on
yeah.
there. It's so it'd be stupid to use anything other than Streamplace to build out this custom app, or you want to go to now subscriptions. So. It's shocking. I'm shocked private data hasn't really come up in this conversation yet. It's been so wide ranging about at protocol things, but obviously subscriptions and subscriber only content takes us right into the world of, we get to say the word arenas a lot now after Paul's most recent post explaining the different criteria for it. So with both payments and private data, I've been hacking away on my video technology and hoping more people solve some of those problems in the background so that we can build on top of it instead of inventing it here. But we're going to get there eventually if nobody else does first, I guess.
Well, I mentioned Button Down, and Ted, you know the guys at Outpost, right? Who help. So we're in the weirdly fortunate situation of big media companies imploding and supernova style, and then pushing out waves of hydrogen gas that then accrete into wonderful organizations like 404 and Defector and so on.
I love how optimistic that take is. It's delightful and true. Limited purpose is true for our conversation.
They're still here. And just along that line of, well, if you talk about Button Down, then you talk about Ghost. You already have software platforms for membership, right? Yeah. So how does something, and part of Ghost deal is that it's more open. and already interested in stuff like, actually, Ted, you had a whole opinion about what Ghost was saying about 80 Proto.
Yeah. And Quillmatic here, Anuja's, I think, in the chat at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that they're, I mean, putting our product hats on, right? The
Right.
big thing here ultimately is what kind of economic activity is this stuff going to enable and give people a reason to not just give people a reason to hang out, but be able to give people a reason to like make it work over longer periods of time. I mean, like the reason why our production value is so low is we make literally no money on this and have no plan to make money on it, right? So like we're just kind of fucking screwing around on this and talking about stuff. But there need to be people who can make money from this space, and there are some folks who are doing some things. Like Wired, for example, talks about how great their conversions are through Blue Sky, and despite the fact that engagement numbers are perceived to be low in Blue Sky, actually the quality of like views to click-throughs on Blue Sky is much, much higher than in other ecosystems. And that actually converts directly for groups like Wired, right? So it's worth them continuing to engage in this ecosystem. But then, you know, we need to talk about like what are the economic models in these other spaces and being able to help people map it over to make sense for them to spend time here. And some of that is being able to say like, yeah, you set up subscription models and you can get to a place where you have a publishing chain that allows you to do subscriber only content without having to do whole nother stack, or that stack needs to be better integrated with the way that the App Proto and the App Proto ecosystem works.
Right. And I'm not even thinking of these as integrated into Blue Sky, the app, in
I
any
said
way
App Proto,
either.
to be clear.
Yes. Yeah. I'm doing that as well.
Yeah, because I mean, like, it's interesting to think about. This is an example of journalists using Ghost and their existing subscription and publishing platforms to continue to further their business. But the integration between publishing platforms, including Ghost and App Proto, is extremely weak. I don't mean weak pejoratively. I mean weak as in not strong.
Right.
And that's one of those things where it's like you could see much better native App Proto publishing tools. And what does that look like over time? I mean, like Leaflet is one example of App Proto publishing and being able to integrate that stuff, but it doesn't have a full stack around it yet.
Yeah, it's kind of distressing that Threads appears to be actually shipping a whole bunch of new stuff.
Sure. They've got a gigantic fucking team. Okay. Threads is Instagram, right? Like people need to like remember this. Like it's not like a separate thing that they launched, right? Like it's a separate interface that they use to poke Elon Musk in the eye, sure, and make millennials think that they launched something new, right? Like otherwise, like technically, infrastructurally, vibe-wise, it's fucking Instagram.
Here, thought experiment for y'all. So Threads famously has like really mediocre ActivityPub integration that like 1,400 people or 40,000 people have opted into or something. What legacy media, social media platform is most likely to adopt App Protocol? Who do we think would do it? I have an answer, but I'm curious what people think.
Can this be multiple choice? I'm just trying to think of what you define as legacy social media platform.
And any non decentralized and anything where it's just on a server. If you
Orkut.
Or what?
Orkut.
Orkut. Oh yeah.
Blogger.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
That's actually but that's an interesting. I mean, like a blogging platform is actually potentially especially like an increasingly irrelevant blogging platform is potentially one answer for, well, here's why people are paying attention to Blogger again or something.
Yeah, that's a super interesting question because I've had people say, including people who I've joked about this with people who used to work at Blue Sky. Is like, do you think X will ever adopt App Proto? I'm like, absolutely fucking not. Which is what it was designed for, right? So it's like sad that that's not a thing that will ever happen. But I definitely do not think that it's ever going to happen.
It's only going to be right. It's only going to be the auto rans, right? It's only going to be the competitor brands. It's not going to be one who has a sufficiently large moat. But if they do it, they're doing it for. And then, so here's me disagreeing with myself. But if they do it, then they're doing it for some of the reasons that Facebook might be doing it for, which is look, we're doing open stuff. Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm still thinking.
Chat guessed my answer. Fairy Dust Engineering chat guessed my answer, which is Tumblr.
Yeah.
Which would be an interesting. I expect, obviously that's Automatic, so that's the WordPress cinematic universe, and I don't necessarily. WordPress is too customized. I mean, it's like mostly like a website engine for people. It's not like the. It's not a social platform in that way. But I would, on the other hand, expect that is one organization I would expect to kind of get it when they're a company that operates a million different WordPress instances working a different way.
I've
That's
got
kind of
bad news for you.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, they're an App Proto team, or not App Proto, an Activity Pub team.
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean that maybe makes my point in a different way, which is if they're Activity Pub zealots, maybe that means they just got into it a little bit too early and missed the App Proto.
Yeah, well,
no, he got too busy firing people.
Well, okay, let's okay, yeah. So actually, all right, no, let's back up some
Tumblr.
Steps. So yeah. So kind of, right? There's the Wafrin or whatever the hell it's called. I guess we can go grab it. But like, to me, the question is like, also, what is Tumblr as a product is an interesting question. How much of it is community? How much of it is certain types of patterns of behavior? Are those replicable in other places? Yeah, those are fair questions. The other part about this, and one of my really big questions, is like, what does it mean for an existing platform to adopt App Proto, and how hard is that to do, right? Because I think you can greenfield App Proto projects.
Yeah.
Fine. I think that there are technical barriers to that, and there are people who are like, no, this thing's scary, I'm going to build something else. But like, you can do it. And increasingly, like, we haven't talked about slices in any detail yet, but like, more tools are absolutely coming to make building on App Proto better, faster, easier. And that's super exciting. The thing about ActivityPub is that I think it is legible for people, including developers, to figure out how to integrate it as a kind of sidecar thing along with their existing platform stack. And App Proto, because of the portability promises that it makes, is a bit more challenging. And so the way that I frame this is ultimately both Ghost and WordPress have opted to integrate App Proto and then like pretend that they integrate ActivityPub and then pretend that they've integrated that Proto by essentially just leaning on Anuj and Ryan's beneficence to bridge their shit into the atmosphere, which to me is not real integration into App Proto and doesn't really allow you to take ownership of your identity or connect to the rest of the atmosphere in the ways that we would hope is the case. And that to me is a failure of imagination because people hit ActivityPub before they hit App Proto.
I think you're probably right that we're more likely to see almost like a thread style like spike into a new thing rather than, I don't even know what it would look like to port every existing Tumblr post over to like backfill the repo. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
It would be a huge mess. The wildcard one for me would be Discord, which doesn't really have a public publishing platform in any way, but does seem to be, I don't know, forward-looking team in some ways. I don't know everybody over there. This is just based on vibes, but it seems like a kind of space that they're not in, that they might be interested in. The other one that makes me say that is, this is just from my background, Discord's video streaming is like best in class for like, you just drop in with your friends and stream a game at 1440 60 FPS and they all see it flawless. Like nobody can do that right now. And if I invented that technology, I would want to figure out how to publish it to more people than just the 5 other people in the Discord call. Maybe that's expensive. I don't know, but that's my other maybe at Proto participant wildcard would be Discord.
Yeah, I think that but like already even just talking this through, right? Like, what's the shape of large social-ish platforms and how might they adopt App Proto is a super interesting question, right? What would the form of the predicates take? Because right, like Threads is a spike off of Instagram. What other like what are even things that people don't think of as social platforms? And
Giphy and Imager.
Sorry, what?
Giphy and Imager.
Things that do not need. I mean, like, what about Reddit? Should there be Reddit? Should Reddit adopt App Proto?
No.
I mean, if I'm the CEO of Reddit, I say yes, but that's because I'm an App Proto zealot. I don't know if that's good business sense necessarily.
Oh, Steam community. Yeah.
Steam.
GOG would be interesting.
Yeah, this is really what I've been thinking about with apps and app listing and app activity. Steam is absolutely one of my like inspirations around how do we use software together.
Fairydesk coming in with another good one, which is Stack Overflow, which is a site badly in need of a pivot in the AI universe where everyone was Googling stuff and now they're asking AI, how do you make Stack Overflow relevant is make it decentralized. That one makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, 3D printing repositories could be interesting if you had it ready for when 3D printing kicks off more.
Yeah. More? It's already kind of kicked off, my dude.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't kicked off at all.
What are you talking about? There are people trying to put them in schools.
That's not, no. I mean, kicking off like, everyone has a phone kicking off. I mean, I need a new fork tonight, so I'm going to print out a new fork.
I've
been reading too much science fiction lately.
Yeah, that is too Stevensonian for me. I think that the current generation of technology, right? Like, even if you're like, we're in the brick phone era of 3D printers, like it's definitely hit at this point, right? Like, I have my son's classmates' parents asking me about which 3D printer they should get.
Yeah,
granted, it's only been once, but it has happened.
Our kid's classmate has a 3D printer. 3D printed a bunch of stuff for the D&D game that we play. And I was like, yeah, used it for a bunch of stuff, don't use it anymore. Do you want it? So it's like I don't know, I still think it's got potential to hit more. We are coming up, we do this every week, Ted.
Yeah.
We're coming up on 12 o'clock Pacific. No, I don't want to. Yeah, okay, fine. I mean, sorry, don't want to eat with a 3D printed fork. I am like 10, 15 years ahead in the future. And they're not microplastics and they are sterile.
Yes, well, that is unfortunately not the future that we live in at the moment. It's what I'll say about that. Eli, do you have a 3D printer out of curiosity?
No, but I will. I think about buying one every 2 weeks, and it'll be. I had a friend with a 3D printer, but now his 3D printer is broken. So I think I will soon be the friend with a 3D printer, and that's a problem for their business model. I think, because everybody or a colleague with a 3D printer like you,
right?
Because I the first time I got somebody to print me a tablet stand, and I'm like, oh, what do I owe you? And he's like, well, the filament cost me 2 cents,
right?
So I got this one. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, okay. So for example, here's my stack of Raspberry Pis with 3D printed cases. I mean, granted, I don't use mine nearly as often as I should, but I definitely have been using it around the house. So. Yeah,
I do think the way that so Ted, Eli, your question was like, which of the big legacy ones do we think would move over or could move over? And I kind of also agree with you in that's possibly by the time they move over, they will be moving over to catch up. Like that's why they would be moving over.
Yeah.
So can I add one reference point in here, which is like the software ecosystem, and this is just my general reminder that I keep on telling people is like software is going to get weirder and it's going to make people weird, right? Like it already is making people weird. So what we really need to be planning for is like skating to the puck. And like, how weird are people going to be, and based on what is actually the real question? Because like,
then we're not building it for people; we're building it for LLMs.
Yeah, but what the fuck does that mean, right? And that's really the core of what I've been reminding journalists of this too, right? Like we need to think not about what are journalism products that compete with LLMs, but like what are the products that you need in addition to the fact that you have an LLM, because like I don't think that you can. It doesn't make sense to go head to head with these things, and some of these things are like, I mean, okay, my hot take here is I'm not convinced that LLM chatbots are a thing that have longevity past, I don't know, 5, 10 years or whatever in this form, certainly. So the question is like, what's that arc of usage look like? And when do people start getting bored or being like, this no longer fits into my life in this particular way? What are the successor technologies too? And what are these things informed by? Because like, I still think that the GPTs and like Claude and all these things are deeply antisocial technologies, and we can only tolerate using them for so long. That's my hot take. So what's the social network look like after that?
Yeah, I gave my answer to this already, which is not one app, but in a world where it's 50 times easier to make apps.
Yep.
A million different apps and make them all interoperable with each other. I think the App Proto provides a really good runway to how that can happen.
Can we talk a little bit more about why that's important? Because I also think that in a world where malleable software exists, actually the most important thing is convening points and where you can find agreement and having good structure for being able to negotiate those, the ability to come together and share.
Sounds like you'd be a good participant in LexiConf 2026 or whenever. I didn't end up making it happen. I just love the title so much that we have to do something called LexiConf at some point.
Yeah.
But I think that's the answer, which is that's the fun thing about every new app proto dev goes through the same path. And the first thing you learn is like, okay, there's these lexicons and that defines how everything works. And then the second thing you learn is also you can throw whatever data you want into the repository. and every piece of Blue Sky's code generation even does this, where every piece of code that references a record, you have to like explicitly be like, but is this actually a app.bsky.feed.post, right? You have to validate it every time because untrusted decentralized network, right? So the nexus is, in my mind, is, to what extent can we get everybody to agree on the data model? To what extent do people want to explicitly disagree on the data model when you have things like anti-soda posts and black sky posts that don't show up in the Blue Sky feed? The other one that comes up for us a lot is, over here we've got a chat, and like that way. And everybody in this chat is posting to their own PDSs, but you, as the owner of hand-to-hand-combat.bsky.social, have the ability to moderate that chat. And we've sort of emulated this by using a couple of tricks. Like you can delete a post, which is really just you creating a post gate record that stops everyone from seeing that post. But this is getting back to your question about like what advancements to the protocol. That's, I think, one area where you have the concept of like sovereignty for records, that everyone in this chat it goes on their PDS, but they acknowledge that it's your chat, and at the end of the day, you have the capability to moderate it, and maybe you have the permission to delete records on their behalf because it's within your zone of sovereignty. It's sort of an interesting. It's not the private data problem, but it's sort of related in that it's like a separate permission set.
This is exactly the model that Tony's been proposing, Verdverm. Right. So yeah.
I haven't had a chance to really dive deep into Tony's stuff yet, unfortunately, but I think that's exactly the Private data, the what I was saying about private data when we did I did like a read along of Paul's article or whatever. The looming behind the private data thing is the moment you promise private data, people are going to use it for their nudes and post it there, and that's like, so the stakes are immediately, that's what you don't want out there. So I'm very cautious about ever promising private stuff or whatever, but stuff like that where you start to get into different permission sets that can take different sorts of actions. The other thing we need that for, and we'll invent pretty soon, is moderation, right? Is you want to be able to promote, well, for one thing, both of your individual Blue Sky accounts should have the ability to moderate the chat in this, obviously. But streamers need chat mods. We can fake that by making a lexicon where you delegate them certain permissions, and then we have server-side OAuth. So then those users can literally just take actions on your behalf the same way as if you did, but it would be cool if that was an actual part of the protocol. And that's something I think we're very interested in working with Blue Sky on.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I mean, like watching Streamplays come along has been fascinating. And in fact, I should just also ask you right now, how do I get the badge on the hand-to-hand combat thing? Is that a thing I can do?
You get permission from Blue Sky. That is
Really?
Unfortunately.
Oh,
I can send you there's a list. Yes.
Okay.
We got it in the context of we did like the Skylight Streamplays launch party, and Tori got in touch with the team and did it. But yeah, they Blue Sky, I obviously I want everyone to have it. This is like, the amazing like native cross-platform stream, like live streaming feature. They kind of need to decide what their policy is on it, and whether there's labeling on it. Like, obviously everybody with a website that they want people to visit is going to be like, no, I'm live now. Go click this.
Hey,
there's a link to their Patreon or whatever. So I think they are concerned.
Awesome.
About that kind of thing. But,
I'm on a call for a few more minutes.
Yeah, ultimately it is up to Blue Sky.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you.
I'm very interested in
figuring
out how we can get that out to everybody.
Cool.
And I'm interested in the forks, right? We already had talked to deer.social is going to have, so you're probably going to have that red circle on Deer Social as soon as Aviva's done with her internship or whatever. So it's just totally up to them, unfortunately.
Cool. Well, in that case, we'll just go bother them. Paul has already said that he can't come on the call, so oh well.
Probably a good idea this week.
No, he said in general.
Yeah.
So, well. Oh, god damn it! This freaking stream. I've got to figure out, because I had Zoom muted, but it's actually still routing all of the stuff through my stuff.
You've got
so,
OBS is taking the stuff.
Sorry, everybody. I need to get better at this. Clearly got to level up. I should probably go, though. Should we call it?
I'm going to mic drop my thing. My killer.
Mic drop your thing.
Spreadsheets.
We're gonna vibe sheet some stuff.
Spreadsheets are applications. Spreadsheets are the biggest programming language in the entire world. They do data storage. They let people do computations on the data that they put in. People use them for the stupidest and most critical stuff, ranging from which preschool am I going to choose all the way through to, running payroll for the state of California. Put spreadsheets on HProto.
I mean, yeah, let's talk to the Tangle team.
And then put payroll for the state of California on it.
They're still trying to work out SAP, I think. Get SAP to support it. There we go.
Yeah. Well,
thanks for having me.
Thanks, Eli.
Thanks, Eli.
Yeah.
We'll have to do another call-in show and give people more than, an hour's notice. So thank you, everybody. And thank you, Eli, for this platform and us being able to stream here. It's very exciting.
Yeah, I don't feel like I need to plug Streamplace on the way out. It's like, so this is a website called Streamplace. You're looking at it right now, and try it out sometime.
Well, to be fair, the people who are watching on YouTube can go to stream.place and actually see all of the comments and things like that. use their Blue Sky or App Proto account to log in. And the VODs right now are in fact going up to YouTube. So yes, let's actually do plug Streamplays. Any other things you want to tell YouTubers about Streamplays?
That we'll have VODs someday. And no, I talk about Streamplays all the time. You know what it's about. It's like Twitch, but it's for the ad protocol. You get it.
Yay!
Yeah.
Let's go.
Cool.
All
Thanks,
right.
everybody. And
Thank
I
you.
will stop the stream now. Bye.